I think a huge misunderstanding is people think selling is a business skill, when in essence, selling is a life skill. You have to talk to people, you need to shake hands.
Looking at most global entrepreneurs that everyone calls like the greats, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, tech entrepreneurs, and even in Nigeria too, all of them are actually good salespeople.
Yes, they are.
Skill of selling can actually be learned.
You must know your customer's language. You must know your listener's language.
What are some tactics that come to your mind that you've seen work, among entrepreneurs that you think most entrepreneurs should be thinking about now?
First of all, when it comes to selling a product, you must...
Welcome again, Solomon. It's great to be here again.
Hey Elijah, great to be here.
Interestingly, today what we are discussing is sales.
Sell or be sold.
Sell or be sold. That's the market that we live in.
That is it.
Actually, I think when we're working behind the scenes on this, something that came to my mind was a quote I heard from someone. It says, "The life of every business is sales."
Yeah.
Like, it's either you sell or
you die.
You die. Selling in every business is where you get the lifeblood of that business.
100%.
Because that's where you make the money.
Yes.
And something that I observed also is the fact that a lot of people feel like they are not salespeople. A lot of entrepreneurs feel like, I know how to create it, but I don't know how to sell it. And they say it in some, I see like they say it in some kind of
it's not my thing.
Yeah, like in a condescending way. It's almost like, how will I put it? It's almost like you are trying to say that the sales is meant for low people. We are like the high boys. We handle.
A friend of mine told me of his experience.
Yeah.
I mean, he hired a sales team, and then all of a sudden, one of the team members sent him an email saying that he would rather have a strategy role other than a sales role. And guess what happened? He was fired.
He should be fired. So they hired you on the sales role. Then you came in and said you want the strategy role.
And the way he spoke about that transition was like, okay, the sales thing is not really for me. I can do more in the place of strategy. But what more can you do in strategy if you've not yet understood how to convert customers? So
I mean, it's a great misconception because people would rather say, "Oh, I can do strategy, I can do creative," but they don't want to sell because selling means you have to get your hands dirty.
You definitely you have to talk to people, you need to shake hands, you have to go through a series of rejection,
and it takes a toll,
and it's the discipline is what is required. And I think a huge misunderstanding is people think selling is a business skill, when in essence selling is a life skill. You sell every day. You sell in every human interaction you are selling yourself. If in business you need to sell your team members, you need to sell your
even to your spouse.
You need to sell to your spouse. You need to sell to your financiers. You need to sell to your investors. You need to sell so a lot of people think selling involves just talking to customers, but it's beyond that. Selling involves convincing all your stakeholders to come and join you in the journey of building your business.
Yeah. Looking at most, global entrepreneurs that everyone calls like the greats.
Yeah.
The likes of Jeff Bezos to the likes of Steve Jobs, the tech entrepreneurs, and even down to Rockefeller, I think, and even in Nigeria too, I think the fact of the matter is that all of them are actually good salespeople.
Yes, they are.
In terms of they know their products true and true, and they are able to convince someone to make an investment in buying their products.
Yes.
Which I think is very important because at the end of the day, the personality of the founder, of the entrepreneur who has there to create that product or that service is something that a lot of the target audience should be able to connect to.
Yes.
Because they would feel closer to the product because of that visionary that is driving the product. I mean, look at the way Steve Jobs was always the one doing his development conference.
Yes.
You know, he will always be front and center, talking about the products. You know,
Yes.
he honed those skills through the years.
And beyond the fact that he learned storytelling skills and how to sell his products, during those WWDC conferences, he shared his experiences in terms of coming up with the product, the pain point he's trying to solve for the customers, how they invested so much time and effort and money in developing products that will make the world a better place. So he sold the fact that Apple products will make the customer's life better at a good price. I mean, usually people refer to his sales speeches as a reality distortion field because he sells so much benefits of using those products, and then when he calls the price, which in comparison is higher than the competing product, you see the audience clapping.
Take my money.
So sales is really powerful, and when it's coming from the visionaries and they tell stories of how they went through the process of developing those products to make the life of their users better, it can be highly impactful.
Yeah, you know, and thinking about it, there was something you started with. Sales is not just something that we do because we're in the marketplace.
Yeah.
It's a life skill.
It is.
You know, because we have to sell to even people that we love. You have to sell to your child the reason why he needs to go to sleep right now. And you have to put in all tactics.
Yeah.
You know, even if you know that child is sleeping, but how do you get that child to go to sleep? Yeah. It's all sales strategy. You know, and something that came to my mind is the fact that when it comes to selling our products, one of the first constituents that we need to sell our products to are the people that would come work to us.
Yes, your team.
Yes, people that will come to us to work.
Yeah.
Those people we have to, it could be committed to selling the vision to them in a way that they will find it impactful and convincing to want to even drop whatever it is that they are doing to join us.
Yes, I mean, you spoke about Steve Jobs. I can remember when he convinced the former CEO of Pepsi.
Yeah, Mike Scully.
To come join him in Apple. Yeah. I remember there's this popular quote that he said to him. He said, "Do you want to continue selling sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come join me?" And change the world?
I remember. Yeah. So I mean, that was him selling to him.
That was him selling to him. You sell to your partners, you sell to your team members, you sell to your vendors, every stakeholder and everybody involved in bringing your products to life, to be delivered to your customer. You have to sell to them. You need to convince them to come on board to help you deliver on your, as politicians say, your mandate.
Yeah, true. You know, what came to my mind now was the fact that a lot of founders, you see, they don't necessarily have access to good people, you know, or people, they come and they leave.
Yeah.
I think my question to them is always, what exactly are you selling?
Yeah.
Do you actually take it that you need to sell to your people, or do you just assume they will catch on?
No, you need to sell to them. And the selling process is speaking their language. I mean, typically, an individual contributor beyond the monetary incentive wants to do fulfilling work.
True.
So you need to sell to them that they coming to work with you, they will be able to do work that they will find fulfilling. Yeah. So it's a game of convincing your team members that if they are working with you, they will benefit beyond monetary incentives, and they will be able to do convincing work that will be impactful to their environment. And
but I think at the end of the day too, while selling to the people that are joining us, what motivates everybody is different.
It's different, yeah.
You know, I think every entrepreneur must know that what motivates everybody is actually different. There are some people that what motivates them is money.
True.
You know, some people what motivates them is impact. Some other people, what motivates them is the opportunity that can come in the future.
Yeah. You
know, the quality of people they will meet. You know, I think there are different motivators.
Yeah, and understanding how to speak to these different motivations is where the skill of selling comes in. It can be learned.
Yes, I was going to come to that. You know, skill of selling can actually be learned. I think growing up, I actually felt it couldn't be learned. I felt like there were some people that were salespeople, and there are people that were not salespeople by their personality type, in terms of one being an introvert or the other being an extrovert. You know, you often feel like the extroverted person might be a better seller than the introverted. But I come to find out that it's not true.
It's not true.
Everyone just has their different style
of expressions.
But the fundamental skills and fundamental framework required to sell is something that can be learnt by anyone.
Absolutely.
And it's not leaning on any personality type or...
I mean, there are introverted personalities that are good salespeople.
Yeah.
And there are extroverted personalities that are poor salespeople.
Very true.
Yeah. So it's all about...
Yeah, I mean, I've seen one before. Man, the guy was just so lousy. I was almost like, see, get on my face. Because, I mean, you were really not selling to me. You were not putting any effort.
You're just disturbing me.
You're just disturbing me, And I don't think it makes any sense, But I think even coming down into sales, there are some top skills, that every entrepreneur must choose to have. I think I'll begin with the first one, which is basic human psychology.
True.
Right? That is, we must pay attention to what motivates people.
Yeah.
Someone calls it the Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? Adam Smith, so there are different organizational behavioral patterns around these things, right? But I think it's very important that we understand human psychology, the way human beings actually do make decisions and process issues, because if we don't have that skill of understanding human beings or being able to study human beings, we won't actually be able to lead those human beings to achieve our collective objective. Because like a father and a child, he might have a different method to deal with each child. It's actually advisably so, because what one child might respond to maybe might be cane. Another child might want advice or maybe correction through the mouth. So you might actually now give the other person the other one and then you find out that you're not getting results, but you're actually just being a...
Yes.
So
human psychology is paramount when it comes to selling. I can remember reading an article on e-commerce sales, and they shared a scenario that for the same product, if it is sold for $30 and an extra $5 for shipping, compared to same product, $50 and then shipping is free. If you put those two products and you push it in the market, same product on let's say you do some A/B testing, you will see that the sales for the $50 and free shipping will be more than the $30
and free shipping and no free shipping,
and no free shipping, because the free shipping is an incentive. So understanding that when people see the word free,
they typically will go there.
It incentivizes. It's an incentive for them to make a purchase. Is key when it comes to e-commerce sales.
Something that comes to mind is the fact that sales, one must be able to embrace or know what their unique selling proposition is.
Yes.
So what makes your service or your product different in the market?
Yeah.
I think it's very important that we speak about that too, because I see a lot of people who are trying to sell ice to an Eskimo. I know they always say that, oh, this guy can sell ice to an Eskimo. Yeah, but then again, there's limited, what do you call it?
So there are people are different.
Yes, people are different. Faces are different. People are different, and even those ones that are similar.
Yes, some people want different experiences.
Exactly.
Having the same or using the same product.
Exactly. People must invest in understanding what their differentiation is.
True.
In their marketplace.
Your market differentiation is key, because when it comes to sales and converting your customers, you don't speak to everybody.
True.
You have to identify what your unique selling point is. We are talking about Apple today. I was reading an article and I learned that when Apple started, they wanted to differentiate themselves by creating a personal computer for people who are not
computer literate per se.
That is during in the 80s when IBM, when you had to be
a top level professional to use
computer. So that was their market differentiation, the user interface, the graphic user interface. So it's important that business people understand what differentiates them in the marketplace and communicate that difference to their target audience. Yeah.
That brings me to another skill that I think is very important, which is the communication skill.
Effective communication.
I love that. Effective communication is very, very important because, as entrepreneurs, as vision bearers, our job is to ensure that we communicate with stakeholders across board. So that means from your staff within your organization to your partners, to your vendors, to your customers, all of them, you always be communicating to them on a day-to-day or month-on-month. I mean, it depends on where you are in your
at what stage
you are in your entrepreneurship journey, But we all have to communicate. And I think there was this book by John Maxwell that comes to my mind. So everybody communicates, few people connect.
Yeah.
Few people actually connect because they are not necessarily seeing what you are saying.
True.
Maybe you can speak plenty English that is
it's not relevant.
It's not relevant to that particular.
To who you are selling to.
Exactly.
You must know your customer's language. You must know your listener's language. So anybody that is listening to you, there is something he wants to hear. If you are speaking to an investor, there's what he wants to hear.
True.
If you are speaking to a team member, there's what he or she wants to hear. If you are speaking to a financier, a banker, there's what he or she wants to hear. If you are speaking to a vendor, a partner, there's what he or she wants to hear. So it's important you learn everybody's language and communicate effectively to them. So if you are speaking to your team, to a team member, as though you are speaking to an investor, you will lose him.
Very true.
An investor wants to hear how his capital will appreciate, or how you get dividends, or how you are utilizing your current cash financial resources to help achieve your business objective. A team member wants to know how he's going to do fulfilling work and be incentivized financially for it. So it's important you know everybody's language and you communicate effectively to them.
Yeah, and I think it also even dovetails to the next skill that I'm thinking about, which is relationship building.
Yes, I was about to speak to that. Another key thing when it comes to communication is being relational. A lot of people don't relate. I don't know. What comes to mind is, when you are on the internet and then you fill a form and then they ask you to do something else to show that you're not a robot. So people communicate as though they are talking to robots. Human beings are people. You need to relate with them. You need to find out. It's called soft skills, basically. You need to find out how they are doing, how their family is doing, how you need to ask them about their interests, their hobbies. And then if you talk to people that way, before you know it, you see that they become more warm towards you, and they are willing to come along, to come aboard your journey, be it as investors or as a team member or as a customer. So many deals have been closed in golf courses and tennis clubs. Is because these business people were more relational. So it's important to be relational.
True, and I think the act of being relational, I like to put it this way.
Yeah.
We are the goal of all of us being in each other's space in one way or the other, be it at work or at home, is for God's plan, to use all of us as channels to achieve his objective.
Yes.
It's very important that we don't also, how will I put it now? We don't also be the only people communicating, as entrepreneurs to our business people that we are working with. I think we should find a way to also use various channels.
Oh,
you understand? Like books,
books.
What do you call it? Videos, podcasts, even podcasts like this, you could actually share with your team, to encourage them to have that mindset of selling.
Yes.
But there's something that I think is also very important to mention regarding communication and relationship building. When you don't have relationships that are solid, in terms of, we spoke about mentors the other time.
Yes.
In terms of mentors, in terms of
your colleagues,
you won't be able to bring those kind of people to come help you communicate better to your team members or to your community, or to even speak on your behalf in a room, because you won't always be the person that would need to communicate your product or your service.
True. If you are the only person communicating your product or service, it will become bland. People will tune you out. So that is where, in fact, it's part of sales. It's a sales technique, bringing in testimonials. People have to speak on your behalf. People have to. People need to. Your prospects have to hear it from the mouth of people that have benefited from your product or service. So it's key that, in fact, even in the marketing industry, that is where public relations comes in. You need to be strategic in how other people tell your story beyond how you tell your story alone.
No matter what you want to communicate, if you don't have a relationship with the person you're trying to communicate to,
it's hard to connect.
It's hard to connect, really, because at the end of the day, there's a quote I heard. Someone said, people don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. Yeah, I think people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You know, and I think if we dive deeper into selling, you know, as entrepreneurs, pushing ourselves out there to ensure that our products or services gets to the eyes and minds of the right customers and consumers, what are some tactics that comes to your mind that you've seen work, you know, among entrepreneurs that you think most entrepreneurs should be thinking about now?
So first of all, when it comes to selling a product, you must care for those that for your target customers. You must care for them, and you don't assume the pain points that you are trying to solve on their behalf. Talk to them, have a conversation with them, understand their experiences in general, and then create your product around how you can make those experiences better for them as you create a product for them.
You know, as you just mentioned something that don't assume your customers' pain points. Be clear.
Be clear, yeah.
Be clear on what your customer's pain point is. Because I think the pain point, you know, I was speaking to someone recently and I was trying to tell them that you want to sell a house. Selling a house to a first-time homeowner is different from selling a house to a wealthy 60-year-old man.
True.
The key words that would activate that man's consciousness to want to buy that house will be totally different. You know, because what they would, a first-time homeowner might be looking for shelter. He might be looking for a place for his kids, nearness to school, you know. But a 60-something-year-old man who is wealthy most likely has multiple homes.
Yes.
And is might necessarily not be looking for another house to live in.
Yeah.
But he might be looking for someone to buy it for, maybe his children or someone that has served him loyally through the years. Or he wants
to fulfill his lifelong dream of owning a mansion.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. Yeah, I think, or owning a big land somewhere, you know. Yeah. So I think being able to understand what the pain point is for the consumer, going micro.
Yeah, you have to go micro. You don't generalize.
Yeah, you can't really, you know. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, someone came to sell a product to me, I told them, I'm not your customer.
True.
I said, you really need to work on understanding who your customers are. I understand that you are hopeful and they've taught you to sell, but you must know who your customers are, who can actually afford your services and who will not be able to afford your services. Yeah. You know, who might be able to afford your product, who may not be able to afford your product.
Yeah.
You know, because there is something called share of pocket. There are some people that what they are selling is luxury.
Yeah.
The average Nigerian will not be able to afford that product or service, you know, and it's very important that as entrepreneurs we pay attention.
You pay attention. I mean, in e-commerce, it's called identifying your user persona.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You must understand their demographic, their age, gender, their financial standing. You must understand their psychographic, their interests.
Their interest, yeah.
You must understand where they live, their geographic, and where they commute to. I can remember listening to a podcast about the user persona for Lululemon.
Okay.
And the founder was so specific. He said a 32-year-old working professional he was specific about the industry they work in.
Really?
He was specific about the fact that the 32-year-old lady is yet to get married, but she's considering it, has a pet, lives in the city. He was very, very micro in his description of the user persona.
The
athleisure brand. It was very specific, and it's $1 billion business in Canada, and he attributes his success to the fact that he identified whom his target market is, and he was very, very clear about who he's selling to.
Yeah, but how do you think people can be able to achieve that kind of clarity?
Research.
But you say we don't have data in Nigeria. So.
No, even in Nigeria, when we say research, it's not just academic research. You need to talk to people. You need to have conversations. And the more you talk to your users, I was doing a case study on Moneypoint, and I saw that what they did differently is that they spoke with the agents. Yeah. They had conversations with the agents.
To see what their problem points were.
To see where their pain points were and what they were solving for. To as a competitive advantage in the
market,
agency banking,
POS
market. Yeah, so you must talk to your target customers. You must have conversations with them, understand what their pain points are, and then create your product with those insights and intelligence you gather from.
You know, you would have just built something
that is already there
in
the market.
You'll just be struggling because you can't differentiate.
There will be no differentiation. There will be no unique selling point, and you keep on competing. So, and it's also the same idea behind the blue ocean strategy.
Okay.
It's also the same idea behind the blue ocean strategy. You have to look for how you compete in the market. What are you doing better? What are you? So it's either you're removing something, you're adding something, you're doing more of something, or you're doing less of something. So you have to be clear in your market differentiation. Yeah, and the more you have conversations with your customers and the more you study, even a big business like Amazon, I heard that they keep a seat for the customer
in all their meetings.
They are always fascinated and interested in what their customer is thinking, both now and in the future, and then they create for that customer. Yeah,
and I think it's arrogance, or should I say pride, to not think about the customer. Because how would you just assume you know what I want? I think we must be very careful about that, because some people, okay, so where I'm getting at is this, I was actually doing some stuff, researching some stuff in tech, and they were talking about young founders, tech founders, and how everybody thinks they are Steve Jobs. Now, the whole idea was they felt Steve Jobs never listened to the consumer. This whole idea of perceptive demand.
Yes.
So, Steve Jobs would say, if you ask the customer what they wanted, they would have said, they asked if Ford asked the customer what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
Yes.
But what they needed were cars. But as much as that is valid, I think that to some extent, you see in the culture of Apple, for example, there were a lot of failed, what do you call it?
The products they innovated on were products that were not new, but they only did it better and
differently.
And basically, they made it more useful.
Exactly.
For the consumer. They made it more useful for the consumer.
I think,
in my opinion, that is being customer-centric.
Yes.
Because you are paying attention to how the product can be useful to the customer.
True. I think we must build that habit of always listening to what the customer is saying.
Yeah.
Someone calls it warm signals that are not necessarily happening now to affect your business, but they are happening. And if you leave it long enough, it will come to affect your business. But if you pay attention, just speaking about Jeff Bezos, I heard that he has like an email that anyone that was a seller on Amazon, no matter how many thousand, if you send email to that email, he will attend to it and get it to the right department. And it was even causing trouble, but they said, we have data and everything. Why do we need to pay attention to this? They said, no, these guys will give us weak signals. In our business that we have no idea about prior till now. So I think, I totally align with what you're saying, doing the research to understand who our target consumer is. Because if we don't really know who we are speaking to, it's almost like giving someone a gift of something you like. You understand? The person just say, okay, I like the thought, but I don't really like it. It's you that likes it, And I think as entrepreneurs, we must be very responsive.
Yeah. We must listen.
We must listen because, John Maxwell puts it this way, that you have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. So you should listen more than you speak. I've met some people that will I was speaking to a founder recently, and I said, bro, I think you need to take this step, this step, this step. Your customers think this is what they are saying. The person was like saying, no, don't worry, they will catch up with it. And I'm just looking at him like, where did you get this arrogance from? Like, that you think you know what the product should be used better than the customer, and you are dictating to the market what the market should do about your product or service.
I mean, he will learn it the hard way.
Yeah, I think so, and I hope not. But I mean, that's really what's going to happen, And I think, but how do you think entrepreneurs should process when they say no to their proposals?
It's a process. It's a process. There's this sales quote that tells you that the more no's you get, it simply means you're getting closer to a yes. So it's a process, and it's not just all about getting rejections over and over again. It's all about understanding what your customer is looking for. The more rejections you get, it's not, for me, I don't look at them as rejections. I look at them as lessons. I look at them as lessons. The more you learn that, okay, perhaps this product should be refined this way, or this is what they are looking for.
True.
And then the more you go through that process, eventually you get to a point where the opportunity meets the process or the preparation you've been going through, and then you grow from there.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember hearing the story of Starbucks.
Yeah.
I think, was it Howard Schultz?
Yes.
Where he got about, 100 no's?
I think thousands. He got
a whole lot of no's. And when I was looking, I was like, this guy must really believe in this thing before he actually stayed this path to see what it became, how it has become a success now. And I think it's very important that we know that no's are basically feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get the no's, we should ask even sometimes why. We'll be so surprised what we'll find at the other side of why. We might be able to tweak our product or our service in one way or the other, because I think no is just data. It's market data telling you something that you might need to adjust. And the more you keep adjusting it, you eventually will find a yes. So, because the reason I'm saying is because I see a lot of people that also believe this mindset and they forget to listen to the feedback that those no's are actually giving them, which if they just make little adjustments, it would actually become a yes as soon as possible. Yeah. So I like to learn from the no's.
Yes.
I like to believe that the no's are feedback.
They're not final.
They're not final.
They're just
someone
feedback.
That said no today might eventually say yes tomorrow.
True.
And I think we need to take it easy on ourselves, because to assume that, I mean, sometimes you are even selling something in a season that the person is not even
in need of it,
or the person is in a crisis trying to sort something out, and they prioritize their spending to do something with it, and then you are coming to sell. It's not really your fault.
It's not.
And it's not necessarily the customer's fault either. It's just wrong timing. So we might need to understand what our time is. There are some products that are seasonal products. There are periods where people buy the most, and there are periods where people don't buy it as least. Much. Yeah. So it's left for us to be able to understand what seasons that people make decisions to buy our products, and then plug into those seasons so that we'll eventually get great sales. So, but I think we must, as entrepreneurs, we must build a thick skin, towards no, because the more we get no's, the closer we get to our yes. And the more we get no's, the more resolute we become as entrepreneurs towards our dream. Because it's easy for anyone to take off a dream, but when you have to go into the trenches to look for a customer, and get that customer to not just buy from you once, but buy from you multiple times, having them as return customers, whereby you have a customer lifetime value that stretches years, from that. Before you get there, you're going to get some no's.
So if you study biographies, there's always that process of going through rejections. It's like a process that you cannot, there's no shortcut to it.
I agree.
And I take it as a learning process, understanding what different people expect from you as an entrepreneur. And then I like what you said, taking it as feedback to go and refine your product or your idea to get it to a place where they finally say yes to you. Yeah.
I mean, but for example, if I'm a founder and I'm just starting out, how should I be processing my sales process? Should I go set up a sales team?
No, the number one salesperson is you. You just have to start talking to people.
Yeah, actually.
Start talking to people. Start talking to your customers. Start talking to people that may be willing to invest in you. Start talking to your partners. Start talking to your vendors. At the end of the day, the number one salesperson for every business is the founder. He's the founder that will convince every stakeholder to come on board, building with him on that journey. So it's a contact sport. It's an engagement. You have to speak to as many people as possible. I don't get tired. You don't get tired. It's the process. It's the founder process.
It's the founder process. It tests you.
Yeah.
You know, because I remember talking to someone. I was counseling someone, and the person told me that they wanted to hire sales people and have like a sales department, you know. And I was like, wait, so you're very early in your journey.
Yeah.
I think even if you might have the money to employ a sales team, you know, and bring out the sales office and everything, you would actually lose a lot. And the person was like, how? I said, do you know the power of having a relationship with that customer?
One-on-one.
One-on-one. You don't know what it can birth for your business. That's something you should be jealously guarding and not exposed to every other person and say, in fact, me, I don't have time. Let them just go and they say, no, that same person that bought that product through that your sales team might eventually want to do something else tomorrow that you would have benefited from, but they will carry it and give that person that they know in your sales team rather than coming to meet you and giving to your business. So you eventually have some things that fall through the cracks because you don't have one-on-one relationship. And if things are going bad, you won't have that relationship for them to call you and say, hey, this is what's going on.
What's going on. Yeah.
You know, I know you and I want you, especially in your early days. Now, obviously, when you grow to become a bigger organization with a bigger team,
you have more people to interface.
You have more people to interface with. You have more systems and structures. It becomes a different kind of conversation. But I think it's very important that we don't lose the prime assets, which is the relationship that we have with our customers or our consumers or our clients. You know, because that relationship is priceless. It can go from saying you are, I mean, look at, for example, the story of someone like Alakija.
True.
Imagine she wasn't the one present when they were doing all the work. I think she was into what?
She was
fashion.
She was a fashion entrepreneur.
So imagine
she built a relationship with her client. And she was so close to her client that the client told her about a business opportunity in the oil and gas sector.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not against having sales teams. I just think when you are having these sales teams, always find a way to be involved.
Yes, definitely.
In it. If not, if you are not involved in it,
you
are losing a whole lot.
In terms of new opportunities, in terms of insights, you are losing a lot. Feedback, yeah.
Closeness to the market. I think every entrepreneur should
never lose pulse of the market. Direct pulse. You should never lose direct pulse of the market.
I think it's very important because getting the pulse of the market will be able to help direct your strategy, refine your products, and bring it to a place whereby you become like a category king, like in the business you call it. Yeah. You know. So I think for every young man we should all be necessarily thinking about how we can build this relationship with our early customers, because those people will become our ambassadors. Yeah. And they will also become your new sales team.
True.
You know, everywhere they go, so far they are happy, they will speak well of you and they will always find a way to get something.
That's where word of mouth marketing comes in. Yeah.
True.
Because they will share their experiences to other people.
And I think too, something that a lot of entrepreneurs what I see going on with their lives is, I think we've started getting soft. You know, in terms of what we are considering, we don't want to do the dirty work. You know, because I won't lie, building relationship with just your consumer early on, you're going to collect some slaps, you're going to collect some blows, you're going to collect some...
You have lots of rejections.
Not even just rejections, even serving them, they will want to...
Yes.
They will want to treat you like...
Yeah.
You're one, you know, you'll be like, am I not the owner of this company, you know? But then...
That is the process.
That's the process.
Yeah.
They chose to believe in your product or your service. So whether you like it or not, you have to put through with it and find a way to make sure that they leave you happy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think because a lot of them have gone soft. Like, come on, like, why are you complaining?
No, don't take it personal.
You are dealing with human beings.
You're dealing with human beings, and it's business.
Exactly.
Until the customer is satisfied, you should continue working.
You should. I mean, you should ensure as much or as it lies in your power, your customer should be satisfied.
I mean, as they say, the customer is always right.
Yeah, I mean, then again, yeah, the customer is always right because the customer is the boss. He can fire anybody.
Yeah.
He can fire from the CEO down to
the least person
in the organization.
Yeah.
Just by being a strong customer. You know, especially, I mean, even people that are into B2B. If you're in the B2B space, I even pity you.
You need a lot of patience and resilience.
Yeah, especially if you are doing services. Oh my. You know, so, and I think when selling, it's also important, like when we are trying to say, okay, we are building a culture of selling, you know, our products or our services to whoever wants to buy them. I think it's also important that we let everyone within the firm know that selling is not just sales is not just a department.
Sales is not a department. It's everybody's responsibility.
Everybody's responsibility in a way that everybody's playing a role in one way or the other.
True. And even if you are not interfacing with the customer, you are part of a process that will help whoever is interfacing with the customer give the customer a better experience.
Exactly. I mean, even if you are a cleaner.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if the office is not clean,
the customer is going to have a bad experience.
Exactly. And that, obviously, that would cascade down to other things.
So that cleaner must clean with the mindset of a salesperson, knowing that the fact that my job is to make this place clean, it will create a better experience for the customer.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think we don't do enough of communicating that to people to understand that everybody is playing some way, in some shape or form, the sales role.
Definitely.
You know, everybody's playing some shape or form the sales function. Of course, you're an ambassador for the firm. Yes. You're an ambassador for the organization. You must, anywhere you go, you must choose to find a way to see that benefit comes back to your to your company or to your organization. Whatever way, it might not even necessarily be sales, but it might be in whatever capacity that might be available. Maybe it might even be in barter, whatever it is. You must know that everybody is selling in one way or the other. Whether you are within the organization or you are outside the organization, you have a sales function. Yeah. Tell someone about what you guys are doing. Maybe they tell you to come and introduce yourself in a gathering and you come out.
Yeah, you talk about what you do.
Talk about what you do.
Yeah, when you're catching up with friends, I mean, you have to talk about what you've been doing and what you are doing and what you intend to do.
Exactly.
Every opportunity you have to engage anybody that could be. In fact, it's your responsibility as a founder to be a recruiter, to be an evangelist of what you do.
What you do, true.
What you do.
I think that's one of the key job descriptions.
Yes, you must be able to evangelize the mission and the vision of your business. And then the people that you talk to, they go back informed on how they can be part of your journey.
But do you think, I mean, what are some materials that you think you can recommend for any entrepreneur watching this to be able to use to read and get better as a salesperson? Is there anyone that has stood out to you? I mean, I know you've read many books, but is there anyone that has stood out to you?
One name comes to mind, Grant Cardone.
Sell of his soul.
Sell of his soul, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great material.
Yeah. Sell of his soul. And just listening to him in general.
He's a sales-based guy.
He made up his mind that he's going to be the best when it comes to the subject matter of sales.
That's
and
true.
He's still doing great work even up to today. He has been doing it for decades now, I believe. So Grant Cardone is good, and Grant Cardone is who comes to mind. There are many other people, but Grant Cardone,
I mean, someone that comes to mind now to me is Nigeria.
Aki Alabi,
yeah. This book he has called
Small Business, Big Money.
Yeah, very great content.
Aki Alabi is really good. Very good book.
Yeah. I think another one that I can think of is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes, by Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah,
Great
classic.
book.
Yeah.
Classic. Yeah, I mean,
teaches you to be relational.
Exactly. It talks about that relationship part that we spoke about.
Yeah.
Another one that comes to mind is I don't know, Sha, but I think it's good to read it. Out of the Deal.
Yes. Out of the Deal.
Out of the Deal by Donald Trump.
You will learn about dealing with different people in your business journey. Yeah, you learn about dealing with different people in your business journey. It's highly recommended.
Yeah, I mean, Out of the Deal is one, and then let me see if any other one comes to my mind now. I mean, I don't think none for now.
None for now, but simple research on the subject matter of sales, listening to podcasts, listening to videos, will make you a better salesperson. And it's a life skill. You never stop learning how to sell, because even to your family members and all your human interaction and engagement, sales is required. Sales is required. You're constantly selling in one way or the other. That's why Grant Cardone says it's either you're selling or you're being sold to.
It's either you are selling or you are being sold to.
There's no middle ground. Yeah.
I mean, that's something to think about, really, because the fact of the matter is this: as an entrepreneur, I think everyone should, no matter what level you are, you should be developing yourself in the area of sales.
Yes.
You should be developing yourself in the area of sales because, some people I see, they get big. I mean, although this video is not for them, but they get so big that they feel like, but I think these are nice materials that we've spoken about. But Grant Cardone's materials are very solid also. I think something else that is coming to my mind now, is the fact that beyond reading the books, practice is important.
Yes, you must engage.
Yeah, so I think you also get better at selling by selling.
Yes.
Just the same way you get better at driving.
By driving.
Yes, they might have given you the instructions, but you need to go out in the field and develop your muscles of selling. And the more you sell,
the better you become.
The better of a salesman you become, and you also be able to understand your peculiarity of your market, because some of these books are foreign.
Yeah, they are foreign materials.
So they might not necessarily understand our
local context.
And terrain, So I think it's very important that you also push yourself out there. Go there, sell, do something, receive some no's, come back, re-strategize, go again.
Yeah,
receive some blues.
Rejection is part of the process.
That's it.
Rejection is what makes you stronger and sharper. It's part of the process. And then eventually you see yourself get to a place where you are more effective in the sales process.
And I think another thing I will leave everyone watching this with is the fact that when we choose to sell,
yes,
there is this law, you call it the 10% law, whereby if you want to reach like 1,000, if you want to reach 100 people, reach 1,000.
Valuable insight. Yeah.
So I think
it's just like even on social media, the percentage of people that like your post is around 5 to 10%, or even less.
Of your entire followers, right?
Of your entire followers,
yeah,
yes.
That's true.
So you should have that at the back of your mind, that if you want to reach 1,000 people, you have to plan to. If you want to convert 1,000 people,
you reach 10,000.
Plan to reach 10,000 people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think because once you have that at the back of your mind, you don't get disappointed on your journey, because you know that
it's part of the process.
It's part of the game. It's part of the process. You have to just keep going until eventually you'll meet that yes that will change your life. And it might just be one person. Depends on what market or what industry that you're in. Just be one person. And that person can even choose to introduce you to more people. But you must just keep at the back of your mind that to increase your probability of selling more,
you need to sell to more people.
You need to sell to more people. So even no matter where it is, and you'll be so shocked, because sometimes you might think selling to this person might be too small. You don't know whose ear.
Yeah, the person can.
The person, speaking about relationships, we're talking about,
can influence.
You don't know whose ear that person can influence and tell that, sir, there's somebody I met that told me about this, blah, blah, blah. And we introduce you, and that person will be worth 1,000 people.
True.
So I think it's very important that we have that at the back of our mind, so that we don't go around saying, oh, I spoke to 2 or 3 people, I'm fine. When you're actually looking for 10 or 100
people that you want to convert.
And I think something else we must take advantage of is to be able to achieve these numbers is platforms like social media you mentioned earlier.
You must leverage.
You know, we must see how we can leverage all platforms possible to always be selling. Whether we are actively selling and saying come and buy, or we are just showing, you know, that will stir up your desire to buy. Whatever it is, use social media as one of the major tools to achieve your sales goals. It's very, very important, especially in this day and age, you know, to always be active. At least let somebody know what you do. Because if they can't remember, you won't be top of mind. And if you're not top of mind, you won't close any sales.
True.
You know, so I think that's something that I would like them to have at the back of their mind, so that nobody goes and feels, oh, I learned all these principles today, I tried it, and by tomorrow I've not seen anything. What is all this?
Your biggest enemy is obscurity. If people don't know you, people will not buy from you.
Exactly. You can't buy from who you don't know.
Can't buy from. So you need to
keep buy from who you don't know.
Talking about what you're doing, keep sharing it, keep leveraging technology to share. Forget about the likes. Those are vanity metrics. People are saying, and eventually you get to that yes that will change your life.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Solomon.
It was a great time.
I mean, I always look forward to this, and I look forward to people joining us next week while we take it deeper into a whole new level. Thank you, Solomon.
Thank you, Elijah.
Week, guys. Thank you for joining.
Glad to be here.